This is Straight Talk with Atlanta native Greg Fann, the preacher man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the preacher man.
Well, welcome today to another great edition of Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Shanan E. Jones. Well, Shanan is here with his cup of coffee this morning. We're here. This is a pre-recorded program, as you know.
I was getting ready to say
and if you don't know, now you know.
Now you know.
Man,
bright-eyed. No water behind us today.
No water. We're back on our regular set today. Before we get started, I want to just share with you a few things from our viewers about you and me.
Okay.
The Reverend Greg Pollard.
Yes, I know him.
You know him?
I know him.
Okay.
He's a good. He's a fine man.
He's a great man. I don't know about fine.
Oh, come on. We can call the brother a fine man, a fine gentleman. And he's handsome.
Well, I ain't going to go that far. I'm going to leave that up to you.
I'm totally secure. I can say
I want you to...
You'll call somebody ugly.
I never called anybody ugly in my entire life.
I can't call
I never did.
Liar.
I never had. I said that now. I didn't say ugly. I said that pleasing to the eye. That's the difference. I ain't getting pleasing to the eye. I didn't say it was ugly. But anyway, Reverend Greg Pollard said that he was watching this program and he said, I sometimes think I'm watching Allie, Pat, and Jose.
Is that right? They have been reincarnated in the personage of Bishop Greg Fann, the preacher man, and Reverend Shanan E. Jones.
Shanan, you don't have to get all the way in the mic. You can just talk through the mic.
All right.
While you drink
I wanted
your
emphasis. I wanted emphasis.
No, he wanted emphasis. Okay, he wanted the emphasis. He's on the emphasis. Hey, Shanan, what's been going on with you for real? For real.
Man, I've just been watching the mayoral race, trying to see what's going on there. Did somebody else jump in the race? I've been watching that and, been writing my sermons, taking care of the members, like you're supposed to do as a pastor, and just doing a whole lot of consulting work. What you been up to?
Well, I've been up to a lot. I mean, a lot.
A whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, well, the real stuff. They're talking about real stuff. Yeah. I'm dressed like this today because I'm attending a funeral of a 14-year-old kid who happens to be the one of my relatives, my cousin's grandson, and he was shot and killed by a drive-by shooting. We're having too much of this drive-by shooting and killing of people and shooting them down like dogs. People care more for animals than they do for human life. We both are men of God and we believe in the scriptures. Well, he teaches us to love you one another as I have loved you. That's the great commission that Jesus gives. I command you that you love you one another as I have loved you.
Yes.
And we have so much hatred and jealousy and envy in our society, greed in our society, in our world today. It is running rampant. And God has taken us to a place where he brought everybody back on the same level. Everybody. But we're quickly forgetting what we just came through. And it's not over yet. But people are going back to their old ways. You know, it reminds me of the children of Israel when God brought them out of bondage and was taking them to the place that he had promised. But because Moses went on the mountain to consult with God and looked like he stayed too long, the people were influenced by negative people saying, forget this, we were better off where we were over in Egypt, and began to go back to what they seen as a sense of normalcy. God had a greater blessing in store for them, but they couldn't see that because it took Moses, in their opinion, too long to come back off of that mountain. So I see us as a people, I'm talking about not just race, I'm talking about the world. The world itself, we're rushing to get to space, spending billions of dollars just to go up in space. When we got hungry people here, we got people who are sick, homeless people who are here, we spending billions of dollars just to fly, to go up in space, to look back down on Earth. Where is the real love? Where is the real caring about mankind and humanity? Where is that? I heard today that one of the individuals who wants to go to space, he wants to go to space so he can colonize other planets. So he can colonize other planets. So he wants to take the job of God. He wants to colonize other planets. The other one wants to go to space to just employ, to just look at, what's the word now?
Explore.
Explore, thank you. To explore space, just to see what's out there. I mean, really, we got so much things. Look around here at what's going on and how you can help here. Don't try to handle one with God's business. Deal with what God has given you dominion of to take care of here. That's why I'm talking. Where I've been. When you ask me what I've been doing, that's what I've been doing. Looking at how many people who don't care about people, but only selfish, hatred, haters, jealousy, envy, and greedy. But yet they say they love the Lord.
And I think it was maybe a couple of days after Concerned Black Clergy and South Fulton Ministers Ministerial Alliance pulled together clergy to go and meet with the chief of the Atlanta Police, Rodney Bryant, and his executive command staff, that this young man was killed. And so the number was at around 75 murders in Atlanta at that time. And since that meeting, there's been almost another 30 murders in the city of Atlanta and in the metro area. And God has called us for a time such as this, where your generation is preparing to really hand the baton, because the Lord has you all on the battlefield, as the changing of the guard is happening, but yet you're still here. And I believe you're still here to remind us of the fierce urgency of now, because you have seen Jim and Jane Crow. You lived through that. You lived through segregation. You lived through the riots after the death of Martin Luther King. You lived through the changing of the African American family and community, for the worse, not for the better. You've lived to see the disunity. And now you're watching a generation that appears to know not God. Appears
Absolutely.
to be a soulless generation, where grandmama, grandfather is not respected. The home is not respected. The church, the pastor, the teacher, the principal, the police officer, the fireman, the dog catcher, the mayor, the governor, well, the governor is another thing, but the mayor and the city council folks and leadership is not respected. And we're seeing, they say it all comes out in the wash. And we're seeing in the wash the degradation of our community. But yet God has called us for this hour to continue to preach Christ and Him crucified, dead, buried, and resurrected.
And coming back again.
And coming back again.
Yeah, I mean, the reality of it is that I think, well, I know, I ain't gonna stop thinking. I know that we have turned away from God and our cards have waxed cold because we are more concerned about our earthly possessions than what Jesus has taught us that we ought to be concerned about. The least, the less, the lost, and the left out. That's why I live with this premise.
And if they go into the moon, the left behind.
Thank you. That's
ahead.
what I was about to say. I appreciate you because that's why I go into this premise. They are leaving people behind. You want to go and colonize other planets when we have people here that every day I ride taking my wife to work. And every day I see people sleeping on the bridges, sleeping on the side of a building, just laying out, sleeping, laying their blankets everywhere, pop-up tents everywhere. But yet, we can spend billions of dollars to go explore what's in space. But when we have people here that are suffering, Now, granted, I would submit to you and anyone that's listening, we have people who, just the other day when I came to the church, a young man was sleeping on the porch. A young lady came by when I was pulling in the parking lot from in-town ministry. I didn't know who she was. She ran up on the porch and she saw me pulling up. So she asked me, she said, "Do you work here?" I said, "No, I'm the pastor here." So she began I said, "Do you know this brother's on the porch?" I said, "This a guy come by here and sleep on the porch, but I don't know if that's him." She said, "Well, I'm coming by to try to help to take him to a place where he can live, have a place to eat, have a place for medication if he needs it." And I woke him up and she went over to him and she asked him, she said, "Do you want to go ride with me? I'll take you to a place you can take a bath and you can be housed." And what. So while she was talking to him, she came back and she asked me, I asked her, did she have a card? And she said, "No." And she asked me my card. I said, "Well, let me go in the church and get it and I'll be back." When I came back out to give her my card, the young man had packed up his stuff and walked across the street. See, there are some people out there I really know that for whatever reason are happy or content with being in the situation they're in.
Well, let me stop you there.
Okay.
Because
please stop me. If you have some wisdom you want to spot out, spot it out.
Because we also have to deal with, and this is to go back to the police thing.
Okay.
The young people have been calling for the police to be defunded.
Okay.
And we know that what they meant by that was reallocation of funding for mental health workers, because the struggle of being homeless, of protection, and all the stuff that you deal with on living on the street can cause some folks to have a mental break. And then we have a great deal of paranoid schizophrenia and undiagnosed bipolarism that leads to that.
I agree. I agree with that.
So the young man could have just been paranoid because he doesn't have any medication. Is this woman gonna kill me or take me somewhere? No, at least I know where I lay here. I laid there last night and I'm alive this morning. I don't know where you getting ready to take me. And that's another problem that we have to deal with.
But would you agree that there are people who are content in being in that situation?
I agree that there are people who have given up.
Okay.
I don't know if they're. I guess that is
content.
Content. Yeah. But they've lost hope.
Well, let me say, I know of one family. Wife, husband, children. The husband lives in the street. The wife has went and got him, brought him home. He stayed home for a couple of weeks. He went back to the street. Mm-hmm. This has happened not one time, not two times, not three times, but numerous of times. And so there are people who have made up their mind that it's like people who go to jail that's institutionalized. Mm-hmm. They're content in being in that. So I know that's a factor. I'm just being honest with you. I know that's a factor, but there are millions of people, thousands of people who seek and want help. Just like the labor department, thousands of people, millions of people wanted to get that unemployment check. I do not believe, and you can't make me believe, that these people don't want to work. You can't make me believe that. They want to work, but they want to get paid a decent wage for the work that they do. People are tired of seeing corporations making millions and billions of dollars, like these individuals going to space because they made all this money off property and off the work of the sweat of workers, right? But the workers get the crumbs and they get the millions and billions of dollars. So they're sick and tired of making low wages.
That's right. And being treated like crap.
Not they don't work. Mm-hmm. You know, you have showed them that they are worth more being not working than they would be if they were working. If the employers or the people who have a company do the right thing and pay people a decent wage, people will come back to work. Mm-hmm. People not come back to work. But I saw Wendy's had a sign up. They're going to pay up to $11 an hour.
Up to?
Up to.
From where?
From where? That's what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. So why am I going to go back and make $11 an hour when you making billions of dollars, but you want to pay me to flip burgers, french fries, and wait on folks for $11 or less an hour, and you making billions of dollars. So people are not in a hurry to go back to those low-wage jobs.
I like what D.L. Hughley said about it. He said it's giving people a moment to just breathe and really think about, you know, what they want to do next, what job, what skills do they have, what more could they bring home for themselves. He said rather than going back to these crap jobs that treat you like crap, and you're making, as you say, you're making this money, but you're not sharing the wealth with the workers. And they got to leave your job and go pick up one or two other jobs just to make ends meet. And so right now, with the stimulus money, he says these aren't lazy people. He said the hardest working people are poor people.
Are poor people. They are. Always have been. Always have been and always will be. because they value the work that they do. And let's be honest with us, we're the most creative people that it is.
Yeah,
we can make anything work. We don't even have to have what we need to have to make it work. We'll figure it out. We'll keep it going because we are creative and we are proud of what we do. We look at, that's the only, for black people, that's the only thing back at what we've done and how it was successful, and it gives us some self-pride. But then we look at what we get paid for the people who benefit from what we do and take credit for what we do, then it becomes very disheartening.
Yep, you're absolutely
and we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. We'll be back after Black History Fact with Brother James Broom.
I'm Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, right here on Straight Talk with Black History Facts with Brother James Brooms.
This is the only known photograph of Thomas Jennings. Thomas L. Jennings was born free on January 1st, 1791 in New York City. In his early 20s, Thomas Jennings became a tailor, and within a year or so, people near and far started coming to him to alter or custom tailor their clothing. Thomas's skills were so great, and with his popularity quickly increasing, he started designing and creating clothes, which resulted in him opening his own store on Church Street, which became one of the largest clothing stores in New York City. Being a skilled tailor and now a successful businessman in New York City, Thomas Jennings was becoming very disappointed in conventional methods of cleaning, especially after observing his customers often complaining of their custom-tailored clothing being ruined by stains. So he experimented, and he found a successful method that did not harm clothing. In 1820, Thomas Jennings applied for a patent. Now, under the Patent Act of 1793, an individual had to sign an oath declaring he was a citizen of the United States. Being born free, Thomas Jennings was indeed a citizen, and on March 3rd, 1821, he became the first African-American male to be awarded patent number 3306X for his discovery of a process called dry scouring, a forerunner to today's modern dry cleaning. Being born a free man, Thomas Jennings was able to gain exclusive rights to his invention and, in turn, profit from it. Thomas Jennings earned a lot of money as a tailor in New York City, and now, with his dry scouring invention, made a good deal more. One of the first things he did was to obtain the freedom of family members who were slaves. He then dedicated a good portion of his wealth to abolitionist activities. In 1831, he became assistant secretary for the first annual convention of the people of color in Philadelphia. Also, Thomas Jennings co-founded and was a trustee of the Abyssinian Baptist Church, which a century or so later would be pastored by the Reverend Adam Clayton Power Sr. and the Reverend Adam Clayton Power Jr. Both became pillars in the Harlem African American community. Thomas Jennings also helped organize the Legal Rights Association in 1855, raising challenges to discrimination. Thomas Jennings died February 11, 1859, and upon hearing of his passing, the great Frederick Douglass wrote and noted that the importance of the patent that Thomas Jennings received was that the patent recognized him as a citizen of the United States, a designation at the time that shocked many. That's Thomas Jennings. They forget all about him. but we won't.
I'm Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, right here on Straight Talk with Black History Facts with Brother James Brooms. It's been Black History Facts with Brother James Broom right here on Straight Talk. Join us each and every Friday from 7 p.m. until 8 p.m. with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shanan E. Jones. And do share these Black History Facts with your family and friend, and do tune in to Straight Talk. Won't you? It ain't nothing but straight talk.
Great Black History Fact with Brother Thomas Jennings. See, that's what I was saying about how creative we are, how creative we were. Brother Jennings tells that story. He tells that story. See, our history is not
tailor
been
made
told.
with what you got on.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't be as sharp as you were without and to dry clean it.
Look here, I'm looking like Larry King.
No, Larry King was looking like you, Doc.
Well, thank you so much for being a part of Straight Talk today. Brother James Davenport, who's working hard and vigorously to make sure people are not evicted, sit out during this time. Too many people are losing their home. Too many people are being evicted. Listen, that money that Senator James and Reverend Pharrell Malone was talking about, the American Rescue Plan from Joe Biden, that money is out there. We need to be able to tell people how to get that money and how to get the assistance they need during this time, during this season. Preachers, preach the word. Teachers, teach the word. Let's get the word out. Shanan, as the president of the Concerned Black Clergy of Atlanta, and yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, the president of the South Fulton Ministerial Alliance, we are committed to the least, the less, the lost, and the left out. We want you, brothers and sisters, if you want to be a part of what's really going on to make a difference. The other day I was at a function, a labor function, and someone said, Greg, you're here to make noise. No, I'm here to make a difference. Some right. people make noise. I want to make a difference. And your commitment ought to be, you want to make a difference in somebody's life. We got too much going on. We got some stuff planned. We'll be telling you about it with other pastors and ministers, imam, rabbis, coming together to deal with the issue of what's really going on. What the world needs now is what Jesus has told us to do. Love your neighbor as yourself and do what he commanded before he left. He said, my command to you is that you love ye one another as I have loved you. Thank you. Shannon, what do you want to say in closing?
I just want to invite everybody tomorrow night for the John Lewis Good Trouble Candlelight Vigil for Democracy. It's time to act for voting rights. It's going to be Saturday, July 17th at Cook Peace Park, 616 Joseph E. Boone Boulevard, Atlanta 30314. It's from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. We're going to light a candle in the dark, and we're going to talk about and march about and rally about this outcry that is needed for voting rights, not only in Georgia, but throughout our country, 47 states. Did you see the Democrats from Texas have to get
man,
they had to follow the North Star all the way to D.C. And did you see Governor Abbott say he's going to get those fugitives and he's gonna have them arrested. I'm looking at this, I'm like, is this 1780? Is this 1820? What's going on in the country? Voting rights and voter suppression is what's going on in the country. And we've got to stand and fight for our rights. I heard that speech by the president. It was a good conversation. Sounded like he'd been listening to a lot of stuff we said. But we put him in office, not just to tell us the stuff that we told him, but to bring action. They got to stop that filibuster. And he needs to do what he needs to do to make those senators. And he's got the power to do it. He's got the power to do it. He needs to use that executive office.
Well, let me just say this. I just said
I was saying Bishop Tutu. Bishop Tutu.
Yeah, he needs to do that too.
Tutu.
Because the reality of it is, Shannon, the president of the United States has the bully pulpit.
Yeah.
Donald Trump proved that.
Yeah. He still got the bullet pulpit.
Well,
in his mind.
It is mine. But he has the bullet pulpit. He can do what he can do. And as much as he can do, we need to be praying and believing God to step in to deliver us from the bondage that they're trying to put us in. Because that's all it is. It's political bondage, but it's still bondage. Yes. And we are free because he who loves the Lord is free and free indeed. And we're free to say what we want to say because right is right and wrong is wrong. Until next week, do tune in to Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man, and Shanan E. Jones. Email us at fan922@comcast.net.
What were you trying to say? That's fan922@comcast.net.
Or call 44308-0795 and keep those comments coming. We appreciate them. Whether they're criticism or whether they're comments that you agree with us or disagree with us. It's all right to disagree, but not to be disagreeable. We love you because God is love and he teaches us to love. Until next week, again, tune in to what? Straight Talk.
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922@comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.